Hi everyone, Ryan from TM Robotics here today. Today we're going to go through and upgrade the firmware on a TS5000 controller. The demo system I'm using is our TS5000 controller connected to the new TS5000 SCARA robot arm with the TP5000 teach pendant. The first thing we want to do is verify the current version of firmware loaded onto the controller. To do that, we're going to make sure the teach pendant is in manual mode. Then we're going to go to maintenance, and in the maintenance menu you'll see system version. This first screen that we see here is going to show us the serial number of the robot, of the controller, and the current configuration of the controller. So you can see, for example, in this case I have the extended I/O module and conveyor tracking on this particular controller. Next we're going to go to robot info, and we're going to go system version. This will give you a list of all of the firmware for the teach pendant and the controller that is currently loaded onto the system. Today we're going to upgrade the MAIN firmware. So you can see we currently have version X8KCS-02B, and we're going to upgrade that. When you get the file from us, you will get a zip file containing the firmware and all the information you need. So all you need to do is you need to extract that zip file, while that's extracting, I have an SD card in my PC. I've just called it TS5000 is the name. The name of the SD card itself is not so important, but just make sure it's an empty SD card. So once you have the SD card, once you have the file unzipped, you're going to open the folder and copy this TS5K boot folder to the empty SD card. Once you bring that over, inside of that will contain all of the files necessary for the firmware upgrade procedure. As you can see, this will take just a minute. If we open up that folder, we will see all the different firmware visions and files needed for the controller. What's important here is we have a folder called TS5K boot loaded onto our SD card. We'll now extract that SD card. We'll close this folder. I'll take that out of my PC. And we'll go put that in the robot controller. So back here at the robot controller, we're still in the firmware menu. We're just going to turn the controller off. Now down below, here underneath the Ethernet connection, I'm going to remove to make things a little easier to see. You'll see the SD slot, as well as a secret button, if you will, right here. This is what we need to use in order to boot from the SD card. So at this case here, the controller is off. I'm going to put the SD card into the SD slot. We're going to turn the controller on, and then we're going to press this button. Use a small screwdriver or pen or other pointy object. Before turning the controller on, you want to make sure the maintenance switch is set to 0. So I have the SD card in, maintenance switch set to 0. I'm going to turn on the controller. I'm going to wait for the beeping. And then I'm going to press and hold this button. We're now in the process of updating the firmware. You see the beeping has stopped. We have the flashing lights. On the teach pendant, we see a communication error and start booting. This is normal. This is simply because the controller itself is going through the process of upgrading the firmware. Therefore, it is not fully communicating with the teach pendant. This process will take 2 to 3 minutes. All right, you will know the firmware update is complete when you hear this double beeping sound. At this point, you can remove the SD card and turn the controller off. Give yourself 2 or 3 seconds. You can turn the controller on. Once the controller is fully booted, we can confirm the firmware upgrade has made successfully. Okay, we're fully booted. We're going to go to the top menu. We're going to go to Maintenance, System Version, Robot Info. We're going to touch that, and we're going to go to System Version. And we can confirm here that we have the latest version of the firmware, 02D. It's the August 18th version of the firmware for 2020. That concludes this video on how to upgrade the firmware on a TS5000 controller. Thank you for watching, and if you need more information, please check out our website at www.tmrobotics.com. More information is in the description below.